Hello, my esteemed viewers. I'm delighted to have you again in this channel. This is Medical Science Lecture Room. Here we try to keep our viewers informed on science and medical matters. That is to say, we try to teach our viewers on medical conditions, thereby helping them to stay healthy. In addition to that, we run classes or tutorials for physics, chemistry, and mathematics. But for today, our discussion will be on gender selection. Children are given by God. No man gives children, but only God. So we meant to celebrate every child that we get, whether a male child or a female child. We are to celebrate all of them. But because of our cultures, most families or most relationships or most marriages have been ruined because of inability of the woman to give birth to a male child. The husbands or the men sometimes do not understand that the fault is sometimes they don't understand that they are the sole determinant of the sex of the baby. But today you will know all of that. I will give you tips on how to increase your chances of having a male child and probably a female child. Once again, my name is Dr. Godwin Obono. You're welcome to this channel, Medical Science Lecture Room. In case you're new to this channel, please do not leave this channel except you have hit the subscription button. Also, please turn on your notification bell so that once I make new videos, you'll be notified. Again, do not fail to share or like this video. Welcome back. I would like to discuss a few basic concepts with you before I will give you the tips, or I begin to tell you what to do that will increase your chances of having a male child or a female child, probably. Now first, we need to understand that pregnancy, remember that pregnancy is a product of what? Sexual intercourse or sexual activity. And that sexual intercourse must involve what? A man and a woman. A man and a woman must come together for pregnancy to what? To take place or to occur. Now, what happens? A man, during sexual intercourse, the man releases the sperm. Of course, the woman contributes the egg. The woman contributes the egg while the man releases the sperm. Now, what are the genetic material that you find in the sperm? The sperm has the X and Y chromosomes, while the egg has the X and X chromosomes. The X and X chromosomes represent the female, while the X and Y chromosomes in the male, the X here represent what? A female, while the Y chromosome represent what? A male. Now it means therefore that the X chromosome can also be called the female sperm, while the Y chromosome can also be called the male sperm. That means anytime there is sexual intercourse, once the sperm is released, the sperm begins to swim into the woman, and it swims to the direction of the fallopian tube. Because if there is an egg already released in the woman, if the woman egg has been released from the ovaries, that egg will be at the side of what? The fallopian tube. So the sperm swims to that point. And now when the sperm gets there, now what happens? The two X and Y will not fertilize or will not meet or interact with the eggs of the woman. Remember that the egg that is at the fallopian tube has the genetic material that is XX. The sperm has the genetic material that is XY. So what happens for there to be a baby formed is either the eggs of the man, of the sperm, will fuse or will meet the eggs of the woman of the egg. The eggs of the egg will join or interact or fuse with the eggs of the sperm. And when that happens, you have what? A female baby or a female embryo. A female embryo will be formed. Now, or you have the Y chromosome or the Y sperm fusing or joining or meeting the eggs of the egg. In that case, you're going to have XY. The baby will be what? XY. And if the baby is XY, that will be what? The male. That means for you to have a male child, it means that the male sperm must be what will fertilize the egg. And this male sperm comes from what? The man. This tells us that it is the man that determines sex and not the woman. So men or husband who feel that the fault is from their wife who is unable to bear them or give birth to a male child, they are wrong, because who determines the sex, who determines whether it's a male child or the female child, it's the man. That is what you need to first understand. It therefore means that anything that can enhance the fusion, the joint, the interaction of fertilization of the egg by the Y chromosome, it will enhance what ability. It will increase the chances of what having a male child. So I take that again. Anything that will speed or increase the chances of the male sperm fusing or fertilizing the egg, that thing will increase the chance of what having a male child. Now, I want to believe you all have that understanding. Secondly, another thing I want to quickly tell us is the fact that conception is a product of what? Conception is divided into two. Conception can either be artificial, or it can be natural. When we talk of conception, can either be artificial or natural. Natural conception is the one that happens when a man have sex with the wife. Sperm is released, the sperm fertilizes the egg, a baby is formed, there is pregnancy, and afterward 9 months the baby comes out. That one is natural. But artificial conception, or what we call artificial fertilization, this one happens outside the body of the woman. It is artificial because it involves an external influence. In other words, the egg of the woman will be taken from the ovaries, and the sperm will also be extracted from the man. And in the laboratory, the two will be put together, will join together. At the end of the day, you have an embryo formed. They will now take that embryo and put back into the womb of the woman, and it will stay there for 9 months. That is artificial. But I have to tell you this because this is the only method that is agreed universally. That is the only method you can have or select the sex of your baby. In other words, if you want a male child or a female child, this is the method that is 100% known or efficient. Every scientific authorities all believe that this is the only method that can be done. Reason is that once the male sperm, the sperm and the egg have joined or fused together in the lab, they can test the product, the embryo. If they test it and discover that it is a male embryo, then they will implant it. They will put it into the womb of the woman. If they test it and they discover that it is not, they may discard and try it again. It means that is the only this type of conception will give room for gender selection. So that is to say that there is no method that is generally acceptable or that has scientific basis that will give birth, enable you have a male child through the natural means. However, there are theories. Many persons have come up with research on how you can increase your chances of having a male child through what? The natural method. Through the means of natural conception. Now, although many authorities have refused to agree to those theories, but many persons have tried it, many couples have tried it, and it has worked. So today, I want to give you tips. I want to tell you what you will do to help you increase your chances of having a male child naturally, not by what? Artificial means, because this means is very, very expensive. Many persons cannot afford it. Now, number one method or number one tips is this. Number one tips is that you must, if you are expecting a male child, you must have sex or sexual intercourse with your partner at a date closer to the date of ovulation of the woman. You know that on monthly basis, the woman will ovulate. That is to say, egg will be released on monthly basis. So if you know the date that egg will be released, you now try to have sex closer to about that day, either that day or just about that day. That will increase your chance of having what? A male child. The question is, how do I know the date the egg will be released? For you to know the date the egg will be released, I have made a video on how to know your date of what? Ovulation, your menstrual cycle length, and equally your fertility period. I have made a video, my previous videos. Go look for them. Maybe I will drop the link on the comment section of this video, so that will enable you get access to that video, and that video will teach you or inform you how to calculate your date of what? Ovulation. So if you know that date, because in this case, for you to have a male child, you must know that date. Now, when you have known that date, the next thing you need to do is try to have sexual intercourse with your partner just about that day, or 1 or 2 days before that day. Let's explain why it must be so. The reason is this. If, for instance, we take for instance that this is on this day, this is the 10th of let's say 10th of January, and a woman ovulation will be on the 10th of January. Let's assume a woman is to have her egg released on the 10th of January or 10th of any month. Now, on this very day, this is the date we call the date of what? Ovulation. Now, this is a woman who wants to have a male child. So what the woman does is she has to have sex on this day or about that day. Why? Now, supposing we say that this is the 5th day, and from this 5th day we have 5th, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we have this is the 5th day. If the woman have sex this day, sexual intercourse with her partner this day, now it means that this very day, the sperm, assuming she had sex this day and she couldn't have sex again after that day, now till the day the egg is released. Now agree, between this 5th to this are fertile period. Once she has sex between this period to this point, she will get pregnant. But now she wants a male child. Now, what we want for her to have a male child, it is fine or better or preferred, or our chances will increase if she has sex between this day or either between on the 8th, 9th, or even on the 10th. The reason is this. There are research findings from a man called Dr. Shettles. Dr. Shettles is a man who says that there exist differences between the Y sperm and the female sperm. Remember, the Y chromosome is what? The male sperm. The X chromosome is the female sperm. That differences exist between them. Remember that it is the Y chromosome here that determines if you want to have what? A male child. This must be the one that must fertilize or interact with what? The egg of what? The woman. Now, according to Dr. Shettles, that the Y chromosome survived for a very short time. If it survives for a very short time, and he said it's usually 3 days, while the X chromosome survive for a longer time, which is 5 days. Again, according to Dr. Shettles, that the Y chromosomes run faster, or is faster. It runs faster. That's to say, if the sperm is released, as the X and Y chromosomes are inside the sperm, are swimming towards the fallopian tube, the Y chromosome will be faster. That's what the man has said. Now another one is that the Y chromosome is weaker or is smaller than the X chromosomes. Now let's see how these properties of the X and Y sperms will help in fertility or having a male child. Now, if you have intercourse on the 5th of on the 5th of that month, while the expected date of ovulation is on the 10th. Now, the woman will certainly get pregnant because between 5th to 10th, that is her fertile period or unsafe period. But the problem now is that after 5th, 6th, 7th, on the on the 7th, by the 7th of the month, the Y chromosome must have died, because it can only survive 3 days. It can only survive 3 days. So by the 3rd day, it must have died. And remember that it is the Y chromosomes or the Y sperm that you need for a male child to be formed. So you will now see that it is the X chromosome that will still be in the woman. It is the X sperm, the female sperm, that will still remain in the woman till on the 10th. So that means on the 10th, when the egg is finally released, the egg will be released and it will meet in the woman the female sperm. And the female sperm now will interact or fuse with the egg, and a female child will be produced instead of what, a male child, because the male chromosome, the male sperm has died before even this day. So that is why it is advisable that if you have sex on the 8th, supposing this intercourse was on this point on the 8th, sex was the partners had sex on the 8th. On the 8th, 9th, 10th, that's up to 3 days. By this time, or either the intercourse should be on the 9th, or even that very, in fact, if it is on the date of ovulation, the chances are higher. The chances are higher. So between this point and this, the chances are higher. Of course, the closer it is to this day, the greater the chances. Okay. Now the question again you may ask, what if intercourse took place this day, and at this day the X sperm and the Y sperm are still in the woman? Which one will then fertilize the egg that will now be released on the 10th? The reason is that that now takes us to the second property of the Y sperm. We were told by Dr. Shettel that Y sperm has a greater speed, it runs faster. It means that even if X sperm and Y sperm are in the woman and the egg is released to meet both of them, the idea is that the Y sperm will run faster than the X sperm. The Y sperm will run faster than the X sperm. And so because it runs faster than the X sperm, it is the Y sperm that will finally meet the X chromosome of the female, leading to what? XY. And of course, once there is XY, then there is a male child. So in summary, it means that if sexual intercourse is had closer, either the day of ovulation or a day or 2 days to ovulation, the higher the chances of what? Having a male child. So for those who are expecting a male child, then you must have sex closer to the date, closer or even the date of ovulation will increase your chances of what? Having a male child. But if you want a female child, then you need to have what? Sex at least 5 days to the date or expected date of what? Ovulation. The second thing you must do to increase your chances of having a male child is to ensure during sexual intercourse there is deep penetration. What this will do is that deep penetration will enable the sperm to be deposited at a distance closer to the location of what? The egg. Usually, when the egg is released, the egg will reside at the fallopian tube. It therefore means that when the sperm is deposited closer to the fallopian tube, it will help the sperm, the male sperm, to travel a shorter distance. Remember, according to Dr. Shettel, the Y chromosomes or the Y sperm is weaker, though it travels faster. So if the sperm is deposited at a distance closer to where the egg is, it will help the male sperm to travel a shorter distance. And so, of course, you know again that it travels faster, though it gets weaker faster. So deep penetration will help the sperm to be deposited at a distance closer to where the egg is. So that will equally increase the chances of having a male child, because the Y chromosome or the male sperm will travel a shorter distance. If it has to travel a longer distance, it gets weaker or it dies before it gets to its destination. So the question now is that how do we achieve deep penetration? It depends on the sex position. You can have the doggy style, you can have the standing position. These are two positions that will enable you have deep penetration. Now, another point another thing you must do, or another tips that you must must do to increase your chance of having a male child is that the man must ejaculate or at the point where the woman has reached orgasm. The ejaculation should be either before or at the point where the woman reaches orgasm or after the woman reaches orgasm. Why must it be so? It is because at orgasm, the woman tends to release fluid, and this fluid is alkaline in nature. The alkaline fluid will help to make the vaginal milieu or the internal environment of the woman or the vaginal environment to become alkaline. An alkaline environment will favor the mobility of what the Y chromosome or the male sperm. Now, normally the vagina is acidic because of the kind of bacteria that are present there, though for defensive reason, but this bacteria makes the vaginal environment to be acidic. We call them the lactobacillus. But once a fluid is released at the time of orgasm, the environment there becomes alkaline, and that will favor the mobility of what? The male sperm. The male sperm run faster within what? An alkaline what? Environment. So that again will increase your chances of what? Having a male child. So remember I told you that these theorems may not have scientific basis, which is why universally it has not been accepted. They do not agree. Most authorities do not agree with these findings. But however, many persons have put to practice and it has worked for them. So you can also put it to practice also for you that is expecting to have a male child. Even if you are expecting to have a female child, these tips would equally help you out. Again, if you have any comment, if you have any question, please go to the comment section of this video, drop them there. I will respond. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please hit the subscription button. Do not also fail to turn on your notification bell so that once new videos are made, you'll be first to be notified. Again, like the video and share it. Thank you.